Well, race fans, it's that time again. I'm going to do a special bonus video for you today because I got a few things to say on a couple of topics I didn't just talk about last time. Before we do though, as a reminder, if this is your first time watching my videos, hit the like button, comment down below, subscribe to this channel for more content like this and more. So, first things first. At least on the Truck Series broadcast side of things, MRN and PRN are teaming up to form the NASCAR Racing Network, meaning that the PRN broadcast team will be allowed to do Truck Series coverage on the SMI tracks. Now, whether or not this will continue into the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series after this season is anyone's guess. But I will say this: having the PRN team finally doing Truck Series broadcast is great. It gives a fair chance to listen to them and get their take on the series instead of just listening to the MRN team. Not against the MRN, mind you, because they do a good job as well, but it's always nice to hear someone else's point of view. So hopefully I wish the PR team lots of luck when it comes to covering the Truck Series for the SMI tracks. And I assume they will be sharing duty only on SMI tracks as well, in that regard too, on the truck side of things too. But I could be wrong regarding the last one. If this works, who knows? They might expand the idea to Xfinity and Cup in the near future. And I hope they do, to be honest. Again, just get another person's point of view on certain events. Like say have PRN team do the Daytona 500 and the championship race, for example, while MRN can do as my track, whether it's Bristol or Atlanta, for example, in that regard. Now, next on the list I want to talk about is regarding practice and qualifying for the Cup Series. Although there is no practice this weekend, it does, however, start Amazon's Prime portion of the schedule when it comes to practice and qualifying. But apparently, the Fox broadcast team will still do practice and qualifying on their portion of the schedule, meaning that you won't see or hear from Adam, Steve, and Dale until the Coke 600 weekend at the very least. Well, those 5 races will be exclusively on Prime. Then, when we get to the second Atlanta race, obviously, coverage will move to Max and True TV in that regard. And I assume once the breakout ends, we'll hear the NBC broadcast team during the True TV and Max portion of practice and qualifying as well. I could be wrong on that too, but again, the keyword is assuming at this point. But if Fox is doing this for Prime, I won't be a bit surprised if Turner will allow NBC to do the same thing, since they once had a partnership when it comes to NASCAR way back when. Now, some of you, I noticed, especially on Facebook, are complaining that A, you don't get Prime, B, you can't get the CW, and are fussing about, don't have cable at all. And here's the thing. In today's economy or not, I get it. I really do, okay? But at the same time, here's the thing. We all knew since this deal was announced that this was going to be the new norm. You can still gripe about it and say, I don't have this or I don't have that. But the fact remains is that you knew about this from day one after the deal was announced. And yet you chose not to do anything about it. you assume that, more or less, that a last-second deal will come about and will nullify the new deal. And that's something that, to be honest, I don't understand. And this is posted on Facebook, about it, for the record. But the point still stands. You chose not to do something about it. Now, I get it, you can't afford to get Prime, or you can't afford to get Hulu with live TV or YouTube TV. I get it. I get that part of it. Yet, at the same time, though, you could have done something. Maybe get a part-time job, or maybe ask someone you knew, hey, can I watch this or that at your place? You know, something. That's all I'm saying. You had time to do something, even though you don't like the deal, yet you chose not to. So what you're doing is posting on social media, especially Facebook, and whining that you can't get the CW, don't watch Prime or Max. And if NASCAR is going to listen to you and say, yeah, we're going to put a plug on the CW, Amazon Prime and Max, so that way we put the races back on FS1 and USA. Same with practice and qualifying. Or better yet, force CBS, ABC, NBC, and Fox to put Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup on the networks only. Even though you're going to probably end up causing people there to be mad at you, because not everyone likes NASCAR on those networks. And in case you haven't noticed that. Now, there is a free NASCAR channel on Tubi. You can at least see the races there once they decide to put them on that channel. So at least you got an option there in that regard. And besides, you're only paying for electricity to see the television broadcast, and you got internet already for Tubi. You're paying for all that already. It's not like you're getting any of this for free anyway. And again, I do sympathize with you if you can't afford it. But at the same time, you should have done something else about it instead of just whining about it. You could find, say, like I said, a part-time job, or get someone you know and say, hey, can I watch the race at your place? You know, like that. But I guess people just want to complain just because they want to. And I'm not saying they don't have the right to by any means, because they do. But at the same time, it's just that not like that complaint is going to force NASCAR to change their minds and pull the plug on the CW or streaming just because older fans can access practice and qualifying or 5 Cup races anymore, or the entire Xfinity Series races anymore. When we all knew for about a year or so that this was going to be the deal. And that's the one thing that puzzles me about this. Why didn't those people take the opportunity and see if they could work out something? Rather, it's like I said, earn a little extra money so they can afford to get YouTube TV or Hulu TV with live TV, for example. Now, of course, the downside to that is that the local market may not have the CW available on those. And I get that as well. But at the very least, you still get the CW app. You're just going to have to wait a day or so before the race will be uploaded there. Or you can see the in-car cameras at the race. So that way you want to hear people you don't like in the booth for those races. Or, of course, you can download the NASCAR app itself and just listen to the radio broadcast of all 3 series. And you get that for free, mind you. So even if you can't watch it per se, you can still at least listen to the race broadcast on the radio side of things. And have you considered that as an option? Now, because it's sanctioning body, yes, they do deserve to get criticized for a boo-boo. Whether it's ending a race under caution for no apparent reason, or can't make up their minds whether or not they want to throw the caution or not on the last lap, or bad officiating in general. But also, when they do something right, they ought to be praised. I'm sure it wasn't easy for them to do what they did to Briscoe and Clickerman, but unfortunately they did break the rule and consequences had to be taken because of that. It stings for them, especially Parker, but it is what it is. You may not agree with the ruling, but technically they were cheating and they had to take the consequences for it. Plain and simple. Even though the drivers themselves may not be aware of it, it doesn't matter. The fact remains is that the vehicles failed post-race inspection in the series, and there had to be some sort of consequences for it. Do you want NASCAR to turn the other cheek and say, "Oh, yeah, your truck failed post-race inspection, but since you crossed the finish line first, we're not going to punish you for it"? How do you think that would be fair for the other competitors if they were caught in a similar situation? Look, I feel bad for Parker Kligerman and his team. Same with Chase Briscoe and his team. But it doesn't excuse the fact that they were caught cheating and they had to take the consequences for it. And sadly, fact wins over opinion every single time. We can disagree to whether we agree that the penalty is justified or not, but at the end of the day, fact wins every single time. You can put your own opinion that Parker Kligerman won the truck race, or the Weekend Splits won the 08 Talladega race, but still wouldn't change the outcome of NASCAR's record books. And at the end of the day, that's the final word. NASCAR has the final word on everything, whether we like it or not. We have to at least respect the decision and move on. Again, I'm not saying we shouldn't agree or disagree about it by any means. What I am saying, though, is that at the very least we have to at least understand that fact always wins at the end of the day. And the fact remains that those teams did cheat. And consequences had to be made because of that. What they should have happened in regards to the Kligerman incident was this. 1, the win should have stood, or 2, fine the team the points they earned and the money that they earned for Daytona, and just leave it at that. And call it a day with that. That to me would be a more fair punishment than take the win away from them, but at the end of the day, NASCAR felt like they had to do something drastic, more or less, to prove a point that we don't allow cheaters in our sport, per se. Or at the very least, if you're going to cheat, then don't make it apparent. Now, I did hear rumblings that it was NASCAR who told the team to raise the front of the truck up, which caused the rear end to fail. Whether or not that is true, it's hard to say. And I'm not going to deny the possibility of that, but the thing is, if the team failed to show proof that, yeah, that's what happened, then at the end, ultimately, it doesn't matter what they say. They failed to show proof that that's how it happened. At least in the panel's eyes. Anyway. And the panel is independent. And yet some people assume that they work for NASCAR and will always side with NASCAR on everything. Unless you're a certain team, of course. No, the panel is independent. Sometimes they do make rulings that will cause people to get mad at them, but at the end of the day, they're independent. Again, you don't have to agree with the ruling, but the ruling is final. I'll decide to file one more appeal, but even so, the fact remains is that if they chose not to appeal the first ruling, then that's it. We can complain all we want to about that, but at the end of the day, you're not going to change our minds. And that's basically what I'm trying to say with all of this. We can agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, we don't know the full story. And we may never know the full story about what's going on how or why these teams cheated per se. You're going to get one narrative out of the deal. Whether it's NASCAR's side of the story or the team side of the story. And while I'm not saying that both sides are lying to an extent to force a narrative, what I am saying though is that unless we were there at the track itself and saw the violation took place, whose side you're on comes down to who thinks in the right. Whether you think the team is in the right or you think NASCAR is in the right. And like I said, fact always triumphs over opinion. Sad, but true. Now, one other thing I want to talk about right quick, and I'll wrap it up for today, folks, is this. The point of all this, all I'm saying is this. We can agree to disagree on topics. Whether it's NASCAR themselves, the penalties, or whatever. But at the end of the day, we can't change the fact of what happened. Some of us wish we could, but we can't. We have to accept the facts, whether we like them or not, and move on. That's basically what this point is. This basically is what this rant is all about. Now, I don't mean to be pig-headed or anything like that, and telling my viewers more or less that your opinion doesn't matter. It certainly does. Far from it. What I am saying, though, is that we can agree to disagree, but we can't change the facts in the matter. That's all I'm saying. Now, one last thing I want to bring up for real is the broadcast side of things, because people are complaining, apparently, about the broadcasters themselves, the camera angle, or whatever. So I got a question for them. If you know better to how to run a race officially on the intelligence side of things, then why don't you apply to Fox or NBC and say, look, I know more about how to run a camera or how to talk than a professional announcer and camera people do. Let me work on that instead, and I'll show you how to properly work a race, do the race. Rather than they'll let you do that, it's up to them. But instead of griping to social media about this, why don't you go to the networks and say, hey, I can do it better, give me a chance. Because unless you do that, what's the point of you griping on social media about it? I mean, you don't have to like the coverage or anything, and you can criticize it. But if you go criticize it, can you at least back it up? And say that you're an expert on the matter, and you want, and say you're an expert on the matter, and you think you could do a better job than someone else who's been doing it for years and whatnot. By all means, go down to Daytona and talk to NASCAR, or go to the networks in New York and say, look, I can do a better job in the booth than Jimmy Little, or I can run a camera better than what you got at the truck. Give me a chance. In other words, put your money where your mouth is when it comes to that. Now, that being said, I will say this. Yes, when it comes to the broadcast, I will admit the trucks is the weakest link of when it comes to the three main series. I will agree with that. But at the same time, I got a question for you regarding this. Who would you rather have in the booth besides Jimmy Little to call the races? That works for Fox. And remember, the key word works for Fox. Would you rather have a part-time ARCA guy, whose name I can't remember at the time, do the Truck Series races because he did a superb job in his first outing? Maybe. Would you rather have Mike Joy do double duty? Personally, I'd rather have Mike Joy call the races, since he also used to call the Truck Series races back in the day too. Or they could bring in an outsider like Alan Bestwick or Rick Allen to do a Truck Series broadcast for Fox. And does not show any disrespect to Jamie, because overall, as a broadcaster, she isn't bad per se. The problem is that she's a better pit reporter than a play-by-play person. But then again, what do I know? It's not like I got a voice for broadcasting. But who knows? Maybe in 2026, they'll decide what to do with the Truck Series broadcast going forward. But we'll see. And the same thing goes to the camera side of things too. Maybe they hire new people who do know what they're doing to get that taken care of. Who knows? And I know some of you don't like Lee Diffie in the booth for NBC either, because he's too foreign. My question to you is this, though. Where does it say that the play-by-play person has to be from the United States? Show me, where does it say in the NASCAR rulebook or the NBC contract that the play-by-play person has to be born in the United States? I know sometimes you can't understand him, but the fact is that at the very least, Lee brought more emotion to the broadcast than what Rick Allen did. He actually did research. And I think outside Mike Joy, he's probably the best broadcaster there is right now. And they probably gives Mike Joy a run for his money right now, given Mike's age and whatnot. But we'll see what's going to happen to NBC when we get to Iowa. Rather than they're going to keep Lee or put someone else in the booth. But personally, I think in regards to NBC, they should keep Lee Diffie. Because he did an outstanding job this past season. Same goes to Alexander at the CW. So far, he's doing a great job for the network. Even doing the FS1 coverage last year and Trucks and Xfinity. And I'm sure when it comes to Amazon and TNT, he'll do great too. It's just what happened with the Xfinity series the last few years. It's similar to what's happened in the Truck Series this year. No consistency in the booth, besides the play-by-play announcer. So at the very least with CW, they're up to a good start with he, Jamie, and Parker in the booth. And that's going to be the same kind of magic, more or less, once Steve Adele Jr. joins in for Amazon and TNT. But we'll see. Now I can't believe I've been ranting for about a half hour at this point. But give me a little bit of time before work, and well, there I go rambling about this or that. But if you made this far, thank you, and I do appreciate it. Now I'll be back soon with my thoughts on the truck race, Xfinity race, and Cup race today. Until then, I'll see all of you next time. And oh, by the way, just in case you're wondering who won the poll, for those who didn't see qualifying, it was Ryan Brady who won the poll for the Cup race today. Or rather, tomorrow. In fact, the Truck Series race is on right now, so I'm missing part of it now to do this video. But we'll catch what I can and do a brief recap with once I also see the highlights for the truck race as well. By 5 o'clock today, on the CW, it will be the Xfinity Series race. Unless I choose to upload it later. Of course. And then tomorrow at 3 will be the Cup race on Fox. And remember, after COTA, with the exception of Talladega, the remaining races on the Cup side of things will be on FS1 until we get to Charlotte. Again, with the exception of Talladega, following COTA. So keep that in mind as well. Anyway, I'll see all of you next time. Bye.